What's going on, everybody out there in Badger Nation? It's Mike here, and I have raised the standing desk, and it's been pretty awesome. So if you are new to the show, we are going live every single day during COVID-19 recovery to really help keep your Amazon marketing exactly where it needs to be, what you need to do to dial it in. If you are looking for Amazon advertising strategy, tips, tricks, techniques, be sure to go to adbadger.com/live so that you can stay up to date with everything that's happening, and things are moving so quickly every day. We wanted to be able to open up a channel to sort of share what our top customers are doing, to share what our top managed service customers are doing, so that we can deliver it back to you, our community. So like I mentioned, we're going live every day to talk about Amazon marketing growth. Specifically, most of the time, it's about Amazon advertising. That is what I know the most about. And today is a different episode than what we normally do, Q&A. So if you are watching, drop in a question and we are going to talk about it. This episode was inspired by yesterday, or not yesterday, last Thursday. We did an episode on budgets and bids, and we had so many questions. We had such a good discussion. I wanted to rekindle that. So if you are watching out there in Badger Nation, drop in your questions of what you have about Amazon PPC, and we'll get to them. While you write, like a drink of water, and some caffeine. You might have questions about bids. What should you be doing with your bids right now? You might have questions about budgets. Yes, we have our first question. Juanjo, what is up? I hope everything is going splendid out there for you. Anytime I see your picture, I always wonder, it looks like a beautiful summer day of where your photo was taken. And it's always like, it takes me there. It's like, oh, wow, summer on the beach. Anyway, let's talk about this question. Can you expand on single keyword campaigns? Thanks for typing this so fast that the P and the O got mashed up at the end. So single keyword campaigns is one of my absolute positively favorite topics on Amazon right now. And this is an awesome question. So I first want to talk about where the idea for single keyword campaigns comes from and why it makes sense for certain products. So basically what this means is if you have a campaign with more than one keyword, literally it can be two. Most of the time, if you think about a campaign, there are generally loads of ad groups with loads of keywords. I don't have the exact number, but I imagine the average keyword per ad group is something like 20 or 30. Sometimes I see ad groups with 100 keywords in it, and I normally don't recommend that many. But so 20 or 30 seems to be the mode, at least the thing I see the most. And what's interesting about this is that there are placement settings, meaning you can change your top of search, rest of search, and product pages bids. You can set your bid modifier, and the performance on these three placements is so dramatically different sometimes that if you were to try to set a placement bid, it would apply to all the keywords. It would apply to all the targets that you have in that campaign, in all the different ad groups for all the different products. So what a single keyword campaign, the theory behind it, and everyone we've told this to, I mean, we do it in our campaigns for certain keywords. I'll explain what kind of keywords we do it for. Everyone that we sort of do it for seems to have a positive impact because it's just math. You know, if you're getting better results on top of search than you are rest of search, you really need to tweak that. You know, you need to take advantage of that difference. You need to dig into that opportunity and set your bids differently. So this is one of the easiest things to do. It is just straight up math. So basically with a single keyword campaign, you just take one that has enough data for top of search, rest of search, and product pages, and then you just optimize it. So it allows you to set proper top of search, rest of search, product page, bid modifiers. Go to this page. Just drop that in the comments. Go to adbadger.com/placements, and you can get our placement calculator, and it'll actually ask you to punch in your top of search, rest of search, so on and so forth, and your conversion rate and your revenue per click for those places, and we will spit out what those measurements should be. For multi-keyword campaigns, you can still set placement settings. However, it's going to be spread out over all the keywords. So it's sort of going to take the combined weight of all those keywords. We are a couple weeks away from releasing AdBadger's upgraded bid algorithm, which is going to include placement settings. Juanjo, I have that answered. You had a follow-up question. Do you recommend a limit on keywords on manual campaigns? If so, why? Juanjo, I'm going to get to that after I answer. My boy, Zishan, what is up? How are you doing today? I'm curious, where are you writing in from? Thanks for watching. How do you guys go about advertising luxury or premium products on Amazon? Do you follow a different strategy than usual? So I will tell you our experience generally with higher ticket products. So a lot of the people that I have the most experience with is generally on our managed services program. People come to us already spending a significant amount of money and have large budgets. This is just generally what I've seen recently. People with really large budgets, they have a lot to spend because their products are high end and they really want to hit it. These products, because the margins are generally high, you can afford a higher ACoS. And I don't know if that's the case in this situation, but generally what happens is it's able to, what generally happens is, I'm sorry, getting a message, but generally what happens is that sponsored products, I'll share some details about sponsored products and sponsored brand ads and sponsored display and all those things. But generally what happens is that if there's a really high ACoS threshold, what generally happens is we want to start going into actually Amazon DSP, demand side platform, because what you can do there is really do refined audience targeting. So you can actually go in and start targeting like thresholds of income, people that have fancy cars, you can target them. Like you can get really refined with how you target on the audience side. And what that allows you to do is better market your product towards people that are high end. DSP can be expensive to go into. However, if you work with a company like AdBadger, you can contact us and we have access to DSP without incredibly large budgets. Like a lot of times you hear stories like, oh, I need $25,000 to go start doing DSP. You can start smaller if you do it through a company that already sends Amazon a lot of DSP traffic. So we do that. So it allows people that work with us to be able to get started with DSP, for budgets like $10,000 a month or so. In general, advertising luxury products and premium products on the simple level, I said I'd circle back to sponsored products. You have to be really careful at analyzing the keyword data, like not even the data, but analyzing the result page after a search is made for a keyword, analyzing it, seeing where your product lives, trying to take a peek at what products are around it, and then trying to ideally go into brand analytics, because inside there, you can take a look at what your click-through rate is, what your click share is, I should say, what your click share is compared to your competitors. And you can and what your conversion share is versus your competitors. And you can use that information to assess, am I like a black sheep for this search? Meaning if I'm showing up for, if I'm selling a product that's $125 and I'm showing up for everything that's $50, am I standing out in a bad way? Like, is it hurting me or helping me? So then you can go into brand analytics and actually see some of those metrics. So that's why it's beneficial to be brand registered. So you can start seeing like, what's my click share compared to other people showing up for this? Like, what are the top 1, 2, 3 products, click share, conversion share? How do I stack up? And then that allows you to really assess, like, is this going to be a good keyword? So the thing that's different about luxury or premium products, DSP works well because you can do audience targeting. And B, you want to look at the qualitative metrics of that search result page for the keywords and see if you're standing out in a bad way. And then you go into brand analytics to sort of verify if you were standing out in a bad way. Zishan, great question. I hope that answered it. Whew. That was a good one. Zishan. I think we've got time for one or two more. Hey now, what is the best strategy for launching a product? This is awesome. I don't know where people are watching from. And I know like we're in like the niche of a niche. We're like B2B, and then we are Amazon marketing, and then we are like Amazon PPC marketing. So we're like really deep in here. So I don't expect millions of views on a live. So I'm like really stoked. We've been getting a lot after, like a lot of people watch it afterwards. But I'm super stoked that people from all over the place are watching. Just before I get to that question, see, Sean, it definitely cleared up a lot of doubts. I'll look into the DSP model. Yeah, hit us up. We'd be happy to help. From Mumbai, India. I hope everything is good in Mumbai. I do not know how to read this text of your name, but I would call you by your name. If you can write your name phonetically down below, I'd love to say your name. But other than that, let's jump into this question. Best strategy when launching a product. This is a really good one. Best strategy when launching a product. And then we got 100K Fraley down there too, coming in on YouTube, coming in on Facebook today. Vasila, what is up? Okay, best strategy when launching a product. Let's actually jump into it. When launching a product on Amazon, we are talking, there's two sort of lanes that you are in when you launch a product on Amazon. It is either your first product or you have very few products and low brand recognition. A lot of, white label, private label people are in this lane that follow like the start an FBA business track. And the other side of it is the way that more established brands launch products. And it is quite different on both sides, but there are some similarities. Essentially, I'll start with the established brands because that's a little faster. Established brands can get away with certain things that unestablished brands cannot. In the sense of if you are an established brand, you already have some brand recognition, you have branded traffic, people are typing in your brand name, finding your product. They're more likely to buy a product without any reviews because they have all that brand recognition. So I'm not really going to talk too much about them right now. But what I can say or I'll say the similarities for both. So I don't know exactly what your situation is, but the similarities for both. Essentially, your conversion, the thing I like to say when you're launching a product is that your conversion rate will never, ever be as low as it is when you first launch. It just makes sense. Meaning you don't have as many reviews, you don't have as much momentum, you are struggling to find out what keywords you need. Your conversion rate is never going to be as low when you first launch. So what does that mean? That means if you start, that means theoretically your ACoS should never be as high as it is when you first launch either. So that is the first thing that we need to think about. When we first launch a product, the number one goal is not profit, unfortunately. The way that Amazon's machine works, the way that it works is to really feed the beast. You want to start a positive feedback loop, meaning the more of the thing that you get, the better it is and the higher it goes up. So you can assume that the way that I like to think about it, you have a sales to review ratio. I think it's a great metric. We're going to put it into Ad Badger version 2, which is going to drop in about 3 to 4 months. So stay tuned for that. But basically, you have a sales to review ratio. And what that sales to review ratio says that you for how many sales that you get, maybe it's 15 sales on average, you get one review. That one review has a monetary value for you because every new review that you get, your conversion rate goes up and you generate more revenue per click every time somebody clicks on it. That allows you to bid more aggressively. That allows you to generate more revenue per click. So that's the thing that I'll say. So just to sort of summarize that, when you first launch, you need to be prepared for a higher ACoS. You need to be prepared to pay for reviews, sort of some kind of Amazon PPC tax. And you have to know that there is a ratio of orders to reviews that will eventually lead to higher conversion rates. So that's that. In terms of launching the actual thing, like the nuts and bolts of it, auto campaign, see what converts, see what you get impressions and clicks for. If those things are irrelevant, it's a big issue because Amazon doesn't really know what it is that you're selling. So you want to look at those search terms, be sure that everything is relevant towards your product. And then you want to see what converts, grab it. We call it the RPSB method, research, peel, stick, and block. If you Google Ad Badger RPSB, you should find it. I was pretty bold, I guess, or we were pretty bold when we wrote this title. It's called the best Amazon PPC keyword research method, and it's still good. So PPC is an exercise in casting a wide net, seeing what converts, and then amplifying it. So I just dropped that link in there. So go read and watch that. I don't want to belabor the point because definitely go watch that. It was it's one of our most popular pieces of content because it really does highlight how to do research, how to peel out what converts, how to stick it into a manual campaign, and then block it from the auto. So Vasila, I hope that helps. Ruben says, thank you for clarification for newbies. Should make videos for us too. Ruben, what are your biggest needs? Like, what are you struggling with? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I need to go look out the window really quick. I've looked out the window. All is well. Thank you, Vasila. So yeah, so Ruben, definitely let me know what your biggest questions are. Definitely want to help with that. Got time for a little bit more. Becky, what's up? Where should target ACoS be, I think, to maximize organic sales, not to get the most paid sales? I think if I were to rephrase this question, what you're saying is, where should my target ACoS be to maximize organic sales? Got it. So this is actually a really interesting question because we talk about this a lot. And generally, a higher ACoS leads to more organic power, if you'll say. So, generally the way that it works is if you have a 15% ACoS, and generally if you were to say, let's kick this up to 25%, you would expect more organic ranking and therefore more organic sales. So that's just generally how it works. So what should your target ACoS be to maximize organic sales to get the most organic sales? So the short answer is probably higher than what it is. Now there's some unofficial ways that I think about this that Amazon doesn't say that they do officially, but here's how I think about it. If you were to send 1 million visits from Facebook to a product listing, that will convert lower than Amazon search traffic. Does that hurt your organic search ranking? No. I do believe that Amazon looks at conversion rates per traffic source, split by keyword, split by product, split by category. So what does that mean? That means, if you're pushing your conversion, if you're pushing your target ACOS up and up and up, you're going from 25% ACOS to 35% ACOS to 25% ACOS to 55. They just keep on pushing your ACOS up. What does that mean for your organic ranking? Does that always translate? Meaning if you're at a 25% ACOS and you push it to 50% ACOS, does that double your organic ranking? Well, no, not exactly. There are some ratios there. So what I like to think about instead is look at total revenue per click. And that should be something that you consider. So it's almost like you want to optimize for revenue per click. So you want to at a low ACOS, you might be generating $10 revenue per click. At a higher ACOS, you may be generating more sales per clicks. So like conversion rate, revenue per click, I think those are important things when trying to bid for rank. So like total sales has a value, just like I mentioned before with Vasilo's question. If you bid high and you get more sales, those sales will eventually translate to a sales to review ratio. And then those reviews will translate to a better conversion rate. Better conversion rate leads to better revenue per click. Better revenue per click leads to better organic ranking. So it's this sort of circuitous path from paid to organic, but in general, increase your volume. And what you will discover is that sometimes going from a 25% ACOS to a 50% target ACOS doesn't actually move your sales that much. You just ended up bidding more. So you do need to be aware and you do need to track a lot of those things. In version 2 of Ad Badger, we're going to add better analysis to better answer this question to see how it influences organic sales. Stay tuned for that. That's about 3-4 months away. We'll have a date for that in the next couple of weeks. Phew. Well, that is it, everybody. I think that's it for right now. This was actually really good. I think we have the most engagement when we just do Q&A sessions like this. So I'm really stoked. Ruben, I'll just try to really quickly answer this just so we can hit everybody. Some people say that you should have 10 reviews before you launch your campaign. What do I think? Yeah, if that's feasible, do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to start without them. And like I mentioned earlier in this stream, go back, rewind if you haven't heard it. Your ACOS and your conversion rate will always be lowest when you first launch. So it'll take some time to really get that going. I think that's it. Tune in next time because we will be jumping into more Amazon advertising topics, Amazon marketing topics. Let me know your questions. I do go back and I read the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments to help inform that. Yes, Ruben, Juanjo mentioned over on Facebook that the early reviewer program works. With all that, tune in tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about Amazon growth again. Always go to adbadger.com/live to sort of get on the live list. You can go to adbadger.com to learn more about what we do. Tune in tomorrow to get more Amazon news and tips, or at the very least, tune in to see how the quarantine beard is growing. It's getting long, getting quite long. I hope everyone out there had just an absolutely fantastic day. Cheers from Austin. Have a good one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you inside the Badger Den.